Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Kerfuffle webinar. And I am delighted to have the absolutely luscious, the gorgeous Tom from Sortmove. How are you, Tom?
I knew that was coming. Yes, thanks, Simon.
And Louise, come on, admit it. You've had a hairdresser in, haven't you? You've broken quarantine for that wonderful coiffeur.
You just don't know what you can do with plaits when you've got my amount of hair. Let me tell you.
Okay, good. Well, look, thank you for making the effort. Obviously, I haven't. I look like I've got Bobby Charlton comb over actually at the moment. But anyway, this is about you, not me. I always should remember that. Yes. No, exactly, not just that. Guys, really pleased today. We're here to talk about Helpful Agent, a fantastically innovative tie-up between you two, Sortmove and SDL getting together. Who wants to kick us off and just give us a bit of context about it, how it happened?
Well, you know what? If you don't mind, I'll go first because it's no, it's a brilliant. It's a collaboration, most definitely, and it's something that's very special to my heart in terms of the concept of doing more than one thing with the clients that you spend a lot of time acquiring and helping them as much as you can. Yeah. And but it's always a tricky one because you know what we're really good at in SDL property auctions, you know, the clue's in the title. We're really good at property auctions. Yeah. You know, we're not brilliant at prop tech. We're not, you know, we've got great tools and great systems and platforms, but that's not what we do best. What we do best is auctions. And actually, when we started working with Sortmove and culturally, you know, what they did best was their conveyancing work. And then they built this really clever platform. And that was kind of what I would have liked us to have had, but thought, you know what, why don't we bring this together? Because there's no point in us reinventing the wheel. You know, we're not doing anything to, you know, we are not revolutionizing what happens to consumers out there. What we're doing is making it really simple for estate agents and consumers to get the services they need and to help estate agents monetize that income. And we don't want to shy away from that. And that's part of what we'll hopefully talk about with Helpful Agent is going, it doesn't need to be a big elephant in the room. It is, you know what? So you should make referral fees. So you should have a culture that says do more than one thing with the customer that you've acquired. And for us, when we, you know, Tom and I started working together and there was a broader connection with other people in our businesses as well. And we just thought, you know what, culturally this fits. You know, we're still able to be the experts at what we do. They're the experts at what they do. And that's how we came together. But, and just as we were ahead of the game in different areas, they were ahead of the game in other parts. So we kind of thought, you know what, this would be really daft if we didn't come together and do something fabulous. And fabulous it is. So we're quite excited about it.
Well, I didn't doubt anything else. And Tom, how long have you been working on this then with Louise?
Oh, well, I think we've so it was over a year ago actually that we first had conversations with SDL. You know, there was synergy there through old LSL connections, so we kind of got a few of the old band back together to have a chat about property industry life and right, well, we've got two businesses here. This is what we do. Is there anything that we can do together? Because actually, when we talk to agents separately, I think one thing that they're quite fed up is having lots of different access doors to different bits of the move that they may need for the client, and with that, of course, comes sometimes a number of different subscription fees. Yeah. So actually that kind of formed a bit of the basis of our thinking of right, okay, well, as Louise said, you know, SDL are great at auctions. We don't want to do auctions because that's not our bag, but we've got clients who do want to do auctions, but they also want to do a bit of conveyancing and they also want to do a bit of surveys and property reports and other things. So actually it just made perfect sense to join our forces and resources and to deliver a one point access door, if you like, to access those.
And that's what a lot of agents want, isn't it? You will obviously, when you've been talking to people, there are obviously a number of different services and revenue streams they can touch on. But as you said, at the moment, it's quite chaotically split. Managing those supplier relationships takes a lot of time. So kind of having your eggs in one basket isn't, some people talk about that negatively, but here's the thing, isn't it? If it's the right basket, it's a benefit to them, isn't it?
No, and I think that's the thing is that this isn't going to suit everybody. By the way, this isn't going to be the silver bullet that says, oh well, I can do this, this, and this. It will be around engaging with suppliers across this part of kind of a referral income generation. That the importance of that transparency and being ethical about it and not ripping people off. Not, taking many layers of, top slices here, there, and everywhere. So the principles was so important to create that, because it isn't about the quickest get rich scheme ever. It's about trying to simplify some of the noise. That's what we keep. It's a really noisy industry and business at the moment. And there are lots of, really fascinating, interesting collaborations and everything else. And for me, there is something quite simple and beautiful, obviously, I think that, about the concept of Helpful Agent, of going, let's just put some of those in one place for you. So I described it as it's like a virtual department store, right? Okay. So you've got your concessions within your virtual department store that you can engage with. So if I want to go to the specialist in that part of that store, I can go there. And if I want to go to the specialist, then I go there. And it's not about, because what tends to happen when those things get put together, you dumb down those services. And actually, we don't want to dumb down those services. We're really proud of what we do and what we love in our business. And we've all got horror stories of people engaging with other suppliers or going, well, I'm going to go with you because I'm going to get an extra £100, you know? Some of those principles are just like, no, actually, if that's the most important thing to you, and I'm not saying it isn't for some people, and you've got the time to focus on it, then great, crack on, because then probably Helpful Agent won't be for you. But if you want a group of suppliers that are ethically come together, that ethically price, that are really transparent for the consumer, so there's an element of protecting you as somebody who receives referral income. God, Tom and I have debated this all the time. It's like somebody goes, oh my God, referral income, it's an evil word, No, it's not. There's nothing wrong. For God's sake, there's nothing wrong with receiving referral income. Just do it the right way. Be open and honest and transparent about it. And don't get greedy. It isn't about greedy cross sales. It's about finding services that your clients need. So you know what? If you don't find them somebody to do a Japanese knotweed survey for them, or a damp and timber report, or a mortgage broker that can deal with somebody who's self-employed, or actually I need my cash quicker than a 6-month private treaty process. If you can't do those things, and we've got the answers, but don't kid yourself that you can't be rewarded for that introduction. That's like saying somebody going into a shop can't put a margin on it. That's ridiculous.
I'm just making a note here. What was it? Don't be greedy. That's okay. Just making a note. Yes, well, far be it for me to shoot down referral income, because otherwise I wouldn't have a model. But anyway, you're absolutely right. The key thing is the public don't care about, the vast majority of them don't care about a fair referral fee, as long as it's clear and there. What they care about is the service that comes with it. Why do you think that? Can we talk just on a couple of levels? What brass tacks? What are the different levels of? What are the services that you're providing as part of Helpful Agent?
Go on, go for it, Tom. I'll talk too much otherwise. Yeah,
of course. Well, so first and foremost, we've got our tech platform and portal. So that's something that Sort Group are really proud about, and has won awards for Sort Refer, one of the sister brands, which was the original ones, for many years. So we've kind of like tapped into that, because that is very consumer friendly already. So it was a very good process for us to reskin that and produce a Helpful Agent portal. So that is now live and exists. What I was always maintained about Sortmove, and what will be really important for Helpful Agent moving forward, particularly in the conveyancing space, is the fact that we've got our own law firm, Sort Legal. which as time goes on actually is proving more and more important to us, particularly where not just around compliance, but around capacity and the ability to create extra resource.
Yep.
As well, because everybody knows, and it's been overemphasized and so highlighted since the industry opened back up after first lockdown, of the challenges that we all face with sales progression. So having that operation on our side is making huge differences. We're able to create niche services off the back of that, and that just lends itself really neatly to Helpful Agent and those agents that we're looking to onboard.
And how does it differ, guys, from some of the other options that are out there in the marketplace at the moment?
I think for me, it's about everybody as a specialist within it. So it's about the suppliers that are part of the Helpful Agent family are, best in field, service at the very heart of what they do, but actually do champion that transparency and that efficacy of going. So we took the decision to cap referral fees depending on which servicer they've got. So that's why I say it might not be for everybody. So if you want to make 500 quid on your conveyancing, then you have to go somewhere else, because we cap that at £300. So it's about making it viable and sustainable, really, because that the reason referral fees is sometimes a dirty word is because they're open to abuse, if you like, and people can get greedy. And so for me, it's just that's one of the key differences in terms of people playing in that are the experts in their field. And it's not about us making money in its own right from a Helpful Agent point of view. It's about a platform for us to engage with agents who might want to do more than one thing within our platform. And lots of our existing auction partners and lots of Sortmove's existing users as well will go, actually, I can monetize other things that I don't even do today. And for me, that's I know from my history there's an awful lot of income leakage in the industry, because you go to an awful lot of expense to acquire that customer. And at some point, they're going to need a mortgage. At some point, they're going to need a lawyer. They're going to need a legal back. They're going to need a this, that, and the other. And so why don't you try and engage with them and add the value there? Because that gives you that sort of lifetime trust, if you like, that says it's a bit of a peer-to-peer thing, that me picking up the phone to you and going, who would you recommend I use for this? It's that bit, but obviously it's quite a select group, right? So it's not, we are absolutely planting our flag in the sand that says, if you want the conveyancing, then it goes through the Sortmove platform and the Sort Legal world. And if you want the auctions, get nicely, nobody else can play, because it's our business. It's SDL auctions, simple as. So, there's not choice, but there is a very clear kind of conditions of play, if you like, for the suppliers within to it. And ultimately,
but you've done the hard work, haven't you? So you've gone out and looked for those best in class providers, as you said, and that's so there's a great time saving element and peace of mind, isn't there, that you've done the due dill pretty much for the agents, and they'll all be aware, I think, won't they? Is one of the other questions I was going to ask you is, look, clearly these services are around all over the place, albeit often just individually. Why do you think agents do have a trouble maximising the referral opportunities?
Well, I think it's down to an age-old term, which I used to hate when I was in agency, but it was bandied about a lot, and that's this notion of plate spinning, because they've got so much to do, so much to remember. It can be quite labour intensive. When you've got the phones going off, and in the good old days with people walking through the door, it was quite easy to forget about certain parts of it until somebody gave you a kick and a reminder about it. But we want, we're going to be creating a platform that's intuitive to the point that it can assist by recognising, the hotspots in terms of the transaction and the process, about, we're at this point now, have you thought about X?
Okay.
on there, so it kind of gives them those little reminders and little flags along the way, because it is hard to, on a daily basis. I know what it's like. You know, I grew up from being a negotiator through being to a branch manager, and you know, at each stage it was difficult to do everything right all of the time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we're in the place now where technology needs to help that.
Well, exactly. People focus on one, you know, what you focus on, you'll get. So if you focus on the conveyancing, suddenly you'll have an uplift in that. If you focus on, you know, surveys or FS, then you have an uplift in that, and the conveyancing goes down. And it's about making that easy. But some of this is around taking some of the noise out. So I know, you know, in agency, they go, oh God, you know what? It's a pain when somebody asks you, I need this damp and timber report, because you're supposed to be the expert. So, oh God, I've got to find somebody or whatever. No, you don't actually. Just, you know, we'll sort it out. It's that side of things, you know. And somebody wanting a survey, it can be really complicated, because you can get a lead time from one thing to the other, and a price difference from, you know, 400 or 500 quid on a home buyer survey or a building survey if you didn't know what you're doing. So again, a lot of that negotiation's already happened. And there's, you know, the idea is that it's a trusted set of services with trusted prices that says most of these have been already negotiated at scale. So in often cases, a consumer would probably get a more expensive price or whatever it might be. So there has to be some trust in that. So it's a bit old school. It's a bit old school in that trusted suppliers and coming together in that, as I say, in the sort of the virtual department store that says, let's not shy away from the fact that you'll make some money out of it as well. But it's about trying to keep it simple, because I think the biggest pressures that face our industry at large at the moment is complexity. And, you know, whether that's in complexity of systems and everything, and there are so many brilliant tools that help them do their job, but you know, based on what you do with Kerfuffle, of trying to get to the bottom of those opportunities and the breadth of suppliers out there, it could be an agent's full-time job to assess a CRM provider, you know, and that's why you are providing such a brilliant service, because actually there's a bit, let me tell you about my business and I can point you to that. It doesn't mean that that's going to be right for everybody. And I think anything, you know, just as Kerfuffle, anything that starts to kind of take out some of the noise and say, you know what, you don't have to review 15 providers to find out which is going to be right for you, because some of them, if you knew enough about it, you'd go, well, that's not for you, because you can't invest in the setup costs, you know, so you immediately would discount a load of suppliers. So again, that's the thing for us. There's no setup costs with Helpful Agent at all. Nice. It is free to play, and you know, there's no expectations of you delivering X amount of anything. It's just come and visit the shop, come and visit the Emporium, and see what you can get by being part of it. Really,
one of those wonderful services though that just, you know, has the ability to, I don't know if you're going to do the big charity style checks, but that's always been a really, you know, a really attractive supplier, isn't it? You know, where you can actually, rather than paying stuff, be giving back, because that's when you're really a partner with an agency, isn't it? Rather than just a supplier too. So you're quite right. I mean, thank you very for your kind words. You know, there's over 600 suppliers on our site, and you know, being able to do your due diligence as you have found with your partners.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that it's so exciting on our site, obviously Sortmove and SDL are 5-star rated. You know, go and see the actual named people, you know, fellow agents, named agents, not anonymized, who are talking very lucidly, very clearly about the benefits they get from you. And that puts a lot of people's mind at rest, I think, in terms of finding it. And so how do they access the Helpful Agent then? Now, you mentioned obviously the price point. Obviously there isn't one, so that's fantastic. But how do they actually access it?
Well, as you would expect, marketing site and things and social channels are now live, but as is the portal, the playground, if you like. So very, very simple registration process. They just need to get in touch with us to express their interest. We'll you know, obviously do those little checks to make sure that they are the right fit of agent for our proposition. And you know, if we agree that between us, literally takes about 15 minutes to register a new brand. That was as many free login accounts for their businesses they like. They'll never be charged for that. And as Louise has already pointed out, it's just free to use, explore, have a play with, use as little or as much of it as they want.
And what's the hand holding going forward? I mean, it's brilliant. You can get on board with it in terms of, though, because it's one thing getting the services, but getting, being able to communicate that to their own client base is another thing, isn't it?
That's a massive part of it. So, because that's the point, there's a danger of we don't dumb down the services and the support that we provide. So exactly as for what we do as an auction provider to an estate agent, it's still really embedded in the training. It's still about launching their auction department. It's still about giving them a set of compliant terms and conditions to sign up people themselves to auction. And it's exactly the same way that they'll engage from a conveyancing or surveying point of view. The first point is go to helpfulagent.co.uk. We'll then have a chat with you about what are the things that you need to monetize within your business, and how does Helpful Agent fit in with that. We've got some really clever tools to be able to size the prize based on your kind of, your current transactions. And I do love that, because there's something around, if you put those things together, you suddenly realize how important it is to focus and get those things right. Because, the meaningful amount of money we can make for a business that's perhaps not what they perceive as their core activity is shocking.
Give us a flavour what people can aspire to earn, Louise. Is there?
If you think about it for us, and when we're talking about a 10-branch agency, in auctions, for example, and if we have really low expectations of them in terms of one sign up a month, or whatever, you're suddenly talking about 25 grand a month on auctions before you've blinked, and that's cash that kind of delivers that month or the month behind, so not in 6 months time. So the pipeline churns mega. From a conveyancing point of view, we always talk about, and I've learned most of this from Tom, is that for you get 2.7 bites at one cherry, if you like. So, and this is their clever data, not mine, that says for every one house you've got, every instruction, you've got 2.7 people to talk to about conveyancing or to quote. And even if you had a really low level of transactions that said, say you had, you've got 100 instructions throughout that month. And let's say you only had 2 people you spoke to within that month, that you quoted. And let's say you had what's a typical conversion rate for you at the moment, Tom, would be?
From quotes to instructions, you mean?
Yeah.
Sellers, I think if an agent's getting 60% and above conversion, they'd probably be pretty decent at that.
Right. So again, let's be super kind of conservative, because I'd always want to rest on that side of it and then have some stretch in it. If you looked at those 200 opportunities that said out of those instructions, and you got 80 of them, which again is like a 40% conversion rate, and you took a £200 position from your monthly, a £200 commission from that conveyancing, you're suddenly looking at £41,000 a month, without doing anything else, anything else. And then you suddenly kind of go, actually, within that, there's the opportunities of how many people have surveys, how many people have, any number of other, that's without even looking at the FS. So honest to God, before you know it, you've kind of, we could make a significant difference to a one branch or a one person agency, through to making somebody with 12 branches £500,000, and that's not that shit. That really isn't. It's very it's very realistic if you put focus on. And again,
I think what I like, Louise, though, is you're not pulling these out the air. These are metrics you're already working on, isn't it? Every partner you work with will already be doing this, so it's just tying it all together, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, it's the communication, and this is our start in this for Helpful Agent. We expect it to grow, and nothing is as it will end up being, if you like, that there are lots of other opportunities that we want to plug into Helpful Agent, and we want to collaborate more with people with the right culture, with, we've got a couple of, I suppose, called angel clients who have bought into the concept and want to add value to their relationships with estate agents. And that's what we want to do. So it's about kind of building in some reciprocity that says, look, we want to, give you more than one reason to come to us, right? That's at its very heart. Do more than one thing with us, and because then hopefully it'll be more meaningful for everybody. That's at its core, really.
Perfect. So how do they find out about this, guys? Obviously they can come to you directly. They can go to the website. Do you want to just read that out again?
Helpfulagent.co.uk.
Couldn't be easier. It does what it says on the. I'm amazed you managed to get the domain for that. So well done on that.
I buy about 10 a month, Simon. So I've had that one in my back pocket for a while. I think I own a couple with the word kerfuffle in it, but I'll have a chat with you about that.
Yeah, but you'll have done it with a C rather than a K, so I'm okay.
I think your mine has got a K on it, baby.
Okay, that's really, really good. So. Clearly, they can reach out to you both directly. Do remember, obviously, we encourage absolutely everybody. Go to the Sortmove page on Kerfuffle, go to SDL, see those reviews, and on there's a wonderful big button in terms of inquire to ask for further information. But it sounds like it's a really interesting and exciting opportunity here. I think from my point of view, it's exactly the right time, isn't it, to be looking at these, these extra revenue streams, especially when stock is so hard against it. Pipelines are stodgy. This way of being able to unblock earning potential is absolutely fantastic. And if you can do that, as you said, with an ethical and a transparent referral opportunity, there's a lot to like there, isn't there, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there are indeed. And as I say to agents as well, particularly as you just pointed out, where listings are a bit harder to come by, it is monetizing those opportunities, but also seeing them as tools in helping them assure more of their main income line, being the agency income, and getting them in shorter timeframes. So, just to give you an example, we launched our sale only proposition within Sort Legal, which is a niche service just for sellers disposing of stock, and we've been agreeing sales earlier this year with that, and they've gone through to exchange in less than 8 weeks, which would have been a great result in a normal market, let alone one that's shrouded with pandemic and stamp duty holiday challenges.
No, that's outstanding. That's absolutely outstanding, isn't it? And this is the key, isn't it, Tom? Again, Louise, it's the point about it's a virtuous cycle. Again, this isn't stuff ramming things on top of them. Done in the right way, these things can only help support their day-to-day processes.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah, and it is about them being. It's us being a helpful agent, but it's them helping their clients. They're being a helpful agent because they're giving those services to people who need them through that transaction. This isn't about selling them double glazing when they've got perfectly nice double glazing. This is about, I need a mortgage potentially. Yeah. I need that survey. I need to sell my property, in 6 weeks' time, or I need this. And if, that's why it's not heartless cross sales. It's about, people need help. We're the experts. Estate agents are the main body that people will go to for that help and advice. So let's give them the easier tools and not blind them with science and not dumb everything down of going, actually, let's just give you access to the sort of things that you're going to need to help your clients. So you can be a helpful agent. End of.
Perfect. Thanks, Louise. I mean, Tom, I think on one of our previous panel shows, am I right in thinking we found some research that you looked at that people move on average now, rather than the once every 7 years that people have, kind of the old urban myth, wasn't it? Isn't it around every 18 years or something like that?
Yeah. So it's a big time difference.
But there's no way, and it's no surprise that the process is shrouded in mystery, isn't it? we because we live in the industry, I think we obviously get confused by that. You're absolutely right, Louise. This should be seen as an absolute benefit, not being somehow apologetic about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's and as I say, and it's its heart. It does feel like, at what point did we ever think that referral fees are a bad thing?
No.
You know,
it's always been as always. It's always those outliers, isn't it, that abuse it. They get the bad press, but actually, the referral fees enable a huge amount of opportunities out there when they're done right, isn't it? It's all just about fairness, and as you said yourself, if you've got that ethical model in place, you don't need to worry.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the best bits of feedback that I used to get from a client in branch, and I relate this to conveyancing and other services, is when a client would say at the end of the transaction, "Thank you for recommending X for doing that job. I've had a great experience. You recommended that law firm to me. You recommended that surveyor to me. Thank you for doing that."
Yeah, perfect. That's great, guys. Look, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It'd be lovely to see, as I said, two powerhouses in the industry getting together like this with all the other partners as well. That's really, really impressive. I think what would be wonderful is obviously it's just hot off the press, as it were. There next time, let's get some of those clients on and talk to them about the benefits there, because I think that's where we really want to see it, isn't it? So hats off to you. Importantly, Amy Hanson has come in with the question and the comment that matters. Love the hair, Louise. So it's important to see.
Because I'm rocking her curly Welsh locks. That's why.
We've got an educated watching base, so that's fantastic. Guys, congratulations again, and let's stay in touch and see how it progresses.
Cheers, Simon.
Thanks a lot, Simon.
Cheerio.